Hello everybody, welcome to another speedrun game against Furley, rated 1145. So we have another Scandinavian on the board, which they like to you're going to get this a lot. On the online level, they bring their queen out and you just get free development, so we're not going to complain. I'd much rather see this than something else, so. Especially when they have no idea how to follow it up and give random checks that only force us to develop. We're already building a nice little city. Meanwhile, his queen is running around town, gallivanting. So let's build up our city with a knight development or with d4. Let's go d4, controlling the center, threatening d5, opening up our bishop. And black's in trouble. His position's terrible as he hangs a queen. On move 6, he's rated 1150. If you're not at least 1,000 rated, and this guy is, think about it. I mean, look what he's doing. He's 1150. I swear, if you just do some tactics training, you're better than this guy, like, immediately. So, let's just go for another game against Mr. Maksad. So he plays e4, we can try to get a Sicilian, and he plays d3. Okay, so you're just never going to get a real Sicilian. People are just going to play whatever they want. So I'm going to put 2 pawns in the center in a unique way, but it does make a hole on d5. However, he can't use that with his knight this way, so automatically it's not as dangerous as it could be. So he just stops us from using our potential hole. So let's just close the structure, play in like a stonewall fashion, see what he does next. He develops his queen, which cannot be the right move. I'm just going to bring out a piece. Okay, he brings his bishop behind the queen, leaving his knight nowhere real to go. I'm just going to bring my bishop out and castle. Okay, he prevents any type of bishop ideas, which I wasn't going to do anyway. Now I'm castled. I'm ready to proceed with the next phase of the game. He moves his queen over. He wants to go bishop here. Say, oh, I'm going to attack your king. Is this a threat? No. Why? King h8. Our king is in the safest square it could be. He can't even bring his bishop in. We always have rook g8 resources down any lines in the future. There's no attack. He develops his knight. Maybe he wants to push in the center. We need to develop anyway. Let's support it. So now he jumps his knight forward saying, hey, I'm going to move my queen in and attack you, but it's already defended. Like I said, there's no attack. So what do we want to do? What could we do in the center? Well, I think a lot of you might kick the knight, but you don't necessarily want to give him hooks to sacrifice and stuff, because he's not ever going to create a threat. This isn't a threat. So I think countering in the center is the way to punish bad kingside play. Because he hasn't developed his knight here, he's not stopping me from playing d5. So just because I have a hole there doesn't mean I'm not going to plug the hole by pushing. And so now I have 3 pawns affecting the center. They're all defended. And white's position is worse. My knights are better than his knights. My king's better than his. He's still uncastled. And I got in another move. Okay, so he develops the bishop. But this looks wrong. Just because without calculating, d4 looks fun. Well, let's see what else we have. Okay, the threat. I don't really see a threat. Drawback is kind of walks into this. But maybe he wants that structure to stabilize the center so he can attack on the king side. I mean, he's not thinking like this. He's 1100, but I'll think for him. If I take to try to open the center, what happens? If he takes with the knight, I can trade knights and my position's fine, but that kind of lets him off the hook. So I'm going to push and maintain my better center. That shouldn't let him off the hook. And like I said, it's not exactly an intimidating attack. So he retreats. He doesn't take once, which gives us a lot of space. An awful lot of space. His knight's almost trapped, but not quite. So what do I want to do? We could improve, we could keep building. You could make moves on the queen side to build. You could develop your bishop to build. Well, that's a little less purposeful, maybe. Queen into the center to build. Interesting. Knight, I mean, you could go for trades, but that almost feels like you're scared. So I'm going to go a5 because I'm not scared. Not that trades are bad, I just don't even want to give off that scent. Like, ooh, I need to trade because you have pieces near me. Maybe if you come up with a threat, I'll consider it. Otherwise, I'm going to push this pawn to a3 and undermine the dark square chain, if he lets me. So he doesn't let me. He looks at some light squares. Fine. His knight can get here, but it won't actually be targeting anything, so it's a little bit weird. If we do kick the knight, he could probably fishing pole, and I don't think you want to deal with that. So let's discard that and just ignore him. Let's play on the queen side. And yeah, I'm just going to gain maximum space with this pawn. Okay, now he's he's sending this down the board, but that undefends this square. Does that matter? Well, this is still covered twice currently. Fine, so let's continue our adventures on the queen side, where we absolutely will play the energetic b5, increasing our space advantage and queenside expansion. But wait, Joey, isn't your pawn hanging? Yes, viewer, it is hanging. But what's my next move? What's my next move, guys? It's a good question. I want you guys to give me the answer, because I don't even know. So here's the thing. We do this for activity. We have tons of active moves now. Queen out, queen b6, bishop out, rook over, and our queenside play is going to be sped up because of this. So this pawn doesn't matter. But what's the best way to carry it out? Normally rook b8, but what if he goes c4, which is an unusual way to try to stop you? You can still clear the knight easily, by just hitting it more. But maybe there's a better way. Maybe start with the bishop, but then he can just retreat the knight. Now I'm going to start with the rook. And if you can force him to play c4, because otherwise your rook infiltrates, well then you have this wedge pawn forever. Having said that, the center is completely locked. You don't have a queenside pawn break other than a3. So we do want to open up the thing, and we do want to develop. So let's do it while threatening to win our pawn back. If he removes the c-pawn, well, that unleashes our c-pawn again. Okay, so he goes forward with his plan. What's he threatening? I don't know. Nothing. But people will be scared because it looks like it's getting... it is getting closer, but I still don't know what he's threatening. So I'm going to take his knight. He takes. I'm going to take materials even. I have a threat. I'm not sure if he has a threat. Because if he pushes, we just push past, and how does he get through? Now his rook can't get in. A knight sack, we just take the knight. So now he has to go for a different pawn break. He has to push the f pawn too to try to open up our king again. That's kind of slow. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to jump my knight in. Well, not right now, but basically if he can't do anything on the king side, it should be pretty clear that he already lost a fight in the center, and he's definitely losing on the queen side, so he's just going to lose the game. And that's the whole fight between, let's say, King's Indian. You either attack the guy's king successfully or you're going to lose on the other side. So now he stops his attacking moves. He takes a second to try to defend. If we push a3, he'll push past. I don't want to mess around with that. Let's unfortunately, can we push? He's just gonna take. Yeah, I don't think you can push just yet. So I'm gonna go queen b6, develop a new piece, and re-threaten the pawn. I'm gonna keep my knight here because it's defending this. Otherwise, the knight b4 was very attractive. And you could have defended the pawn to move the knight, but I'm going to go down this route where I create an immediate threat with a developing move. I'm not pushing the pawn, that way he never gets in b3, and if he plays b3 I just take it and he has weaknesses. So he retreats to defend. You see, this is what we like. So maybe we could just put this bishop here. To move our knight. Or maybe we calculate. Let's go here. If we give him that pawn, which looks terrible, maybe we have a cool move though. Check, he just goes closer. Yeah, let's defend, over-defend this pawn. Because he also wants to play f4 anyway, that's his main pawn break. And this helps that effort, to fight against it with this x-ray. Also, it frees up my knight to jump in. So he goes here. I thought he might go here and hit my knight that's loose, but this is a weird move. I guess he wants to... I mean, he should be pushing the f-pawn. Maybe he wants to play g3 and f4, something like that. Who knows? Okay, but it's our turn. Our knight's free to go. So I'm going to send it in. I'm going to take this pawn if he lets me, because that's a winning advantage, the material, since he has no attack. And you threaten the bishop and the infiltration afterwards, so his position can collapse. He's playing very well for an 1182 though. It's just a matter of time though. Even though material's even, white's definitely going to lose this game. So he moves the pawn, which creates new weaknesses and outposts on b3. As well as, if we go here with check and he moves his king, we can take this pawn because it's pinned. So instead of hunting the dark square bishop, which you could do, and I didn't even calculate, I'm going to give this check, which means he can never castle. And then I'm going to pick up this pawn, which makes my a pawn stronger. Now I'm up material. I'm threatening the rook. And he hangs his queen. So he was playing well until right now. He takes the knight, but that hangs the rook with further material loss to follow soon. We're up 12 points of material, and he resigns. So I'm very curious about what the engine thinks about most of that game, like what the level of advantage was, So we try to play a Sicilian, and then we just put 2 pawns in the center and create a clamp. So yes, our opponent did play pretty well. We have one mistake in the middle game, but overall, he played pretty well. So we're just supporting our center with this weird structure that we don't normally play, but we're going to try. Development and center. Development and king safety. King safety. Development. King safety, prophylaxis. Development, center, and prophylaxis against his pawn break. Improving our position for free, center, removing our weakness, the d5 square. And black is better. Now, what are the options here? Okay, so we can play d4, we can play h6, but I told you why I didn't play h6. I don't ever want to give him any hook or counter play if you're not accurate. So it's either d4 or c4. c4 is stronger though, they're saying. So if he takes the pawn, this central pawn's hanging. If he pushes the pawn, you take, he takes, knight b4. Yeah, I never like looking at these pawn interactions. I've spoken about it in the past. There's just so much to look at. So we play d4, which keeps a nice advantage for black, and you can kind of make it with no calculation. Now we play a5, which is just to kind of show him we're not scared of his attack, but you don't have to do this. I kind of want to look at other options. Okay, queen b6, hitting the weakness. Knight e8, hitting the knight. h6, c4. An arrow move is just as good as two of their suggestions anyway, but they still want c4. I thought this might be weird, but I forgot if he takes, you can probably push, right? Oh no, it's covered. Oh, it's tactically justified because of this. Oh god, this, and push again. No, yeah, this I'm not looking at this in the game. No way. So if we don't see that c4, yeah, then our move is fine. So forgetting about c4, our move is fine. Knight a3, we gain as much space as possible, but he's playing very well, and we don't. Although I'd rather be black because it'll be easier to play, you don't have like just a crushing advantage. You know, you can easily make a slow move and give it back or something. It's not, the wind's not in your hands at all yet. So we play this cool move, energetic, hardly necessary, but very fun. The only reason it's not really good immediately is because he has this c4 idea, which a lot of times they don't have. Usually you hit it, they have to move, and you pick up your material right away, and you're infiltrating. Oops. So he does this. We go rook b8. Engine says actually the bishop move was stronger. So if we do the bishop move and he goes back, let's say, then rook b8, that's a really weird nuance. Okay, so we go rook b8 first because we're only human. And now he supports the knight, which is what I thought he was going to do, which kind of shuts down c4 ideas, but I also thought this would be bad for him because we can undeniably open it up again, which we'd go for. And they're saying his only move to kind of stop what we're doing is this weird bishop move. Maybe if we takes, he can pin us. We go back. It frees his bishop at the very least, which is kind of ugly now. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. It's a weird move, though. In any case, he plays a more normal move, and I just open up the B file and regain my material. So again, it's still an equal game, which is why this guy was playing impressively, but I'd rather be black. I don't see what white's doing. I don't see how he can actually break through unless he prepares f4 and goes down that route. In the meantime, I also don't see how he stops what black's doing on the queen side. I don't think there's a way to stop it. So an engine might be able to hold, but good luck. So he pushes. We push past, of course, to keep things closed. And now we develop for free. He defends. They actually want me to go a3. And if he pushes past, they want me to jump my knight in, hang this pawn, and then what's the follow-up? Bishop d8. Okay. Trying to trap the queen. Okay, yeah. I was not finding that follow-up. Bishop d8. So aside from that nonsense, I'm glad I didn't play a3. This is the one mistake of the game, they're saying, because it's kind of slow, defensive, and they have sharper, weird engine lines. So we still have an equal game with this move. Don't be fooled. We just defend the center to free our knight. He moves the queen kind of purposely. We now improve a piece for free. Threats. This is immediately a blunder because of our tactic that wins material and collapses his position. So you can see how we just held out. And even though we had advantages here and there, you know, we would give it back because these closed positions, it's very easy to give a, small edges back here and there. It's not so obvious, which is fine. You just want to be the one applying the pressure, making sure he has no actual threats. And you can see it's just almost impossible for me to collapse, because when he plays f4, you ignore it anyway. If he takes, it's a great square for a piece, a nice outpost, and he has nothing. So he would have to try to play f5, but even if he takes, you can take with the f pawn, and he has nothing. So you just have kind of free play on the queen side, so you don't have to worry about it, whether it's even or not, things like that. So we hop our knight in, and he blunders, and he hangs the queen. So we have one mistake. Really good game by our opponent. Holding out, forcing us to keep gaining the advantage. We would give it back. We'd have to gain it again. But yeah, you're going to get games like this. But this game was definitely above his rating until he hung his queen. So that was weird. Anyway, good luck in your chess and goodbye.